Alrighty, the streak starts anew after a certain unforced error yesterday. What do we got here? A lot of orange. This is Seaside, Plunder. I think that's it. Draw, Wharf, Maroon, Landing Party, Tactician kinda. Villages looks like the big limitation here. There's Landing Party, but Landing Party gets stuck in play. Is there a way around that? Occasionally there's a way to play a treasure at the start of your action phase, and then Landing Party becomes a sustainable village. Like if Crown is in the kingdom, and it's both an action and a treasure, you can play a Crown at the start of turn. Or cards like Reap or Prepare could let you play a treasure at the start of turn, stuff like that. I don't see anything like that here, with the slight exception that you could conceivably get a spell scroll off of Cutthroat, which would be an action treasure, and then happen to draw it on top of your deck, but that's not something you can play around. I could still see Landing Party being good. Quartermaster can gain pretty easily, and given how strong the terminals are, even just a one-shot village might be worth paying 4 for. The only other village I'm seeing is... There's Rush? Yeah, there's Rush. You can play Tactician for +1 action. So, for example, you just pay 7 every turn. Buy Rush, buy Tactician, discard 1 card. You're getting the +5 cards, +1 action at the start of the next turn. That's probably worth paying 7 for. And then you get a Tactician in your deck that you're never playing again, but it was probably worth it. And then lastly, Cutthroat gains a bunch of random loots. Pulling Staff could be a game changer. Just totally game winning. There's no way to reliably get it or anything, but if you happen to pull a Staff, just 1 extra village in a kingdom like this, with cards as strong as Wharf, it's quite significant. So probably worth getting Cutthroat and just rolling the dice on pulling Staff. Or maybe Spell Scroll if we end up with a bunch of landing parties would be nice as well. Anyways, how to open. Yeah, the thinners are Shaman and Maroon. Maroon's a very strong trasher for sure, but I can't see anything but Rush Shaman being correct in this position. Trashing a state immediately, and, because of Shaman's effect, immediately junking Hardbot. Hardbot also having the 3/4 and being player 2 will not be able to respond in kind. On their turn 2, they can do the Rush Shaman thing if they want, but that estate will already be missing my shuffle. Just a second Shaman seems correct. It's unfortunate that they collided. In Kingdoms with Shaman, just because of this effect, thinning early and aggressively is incredibly important, because if you don't, you're getting swamped with junk, which is going to cause you to quickly fall behind on deck control, and also because if you do, you're doing the same to your opponent, because every time you trash a card, you're hurting your opponent. Now, unfortunately, the Shaman's colliding is really bad, because trashing 2 cards in the same turn is not nearly as good. Because like if I trash a card here, that one goes to the bot. If I trash a second card, bot takes 1, I take 1, it goes back to me. That's not necessarily true if the bot trashes on it. Like if it has a Shaman in hand right now, and I trash, well then there's going to be a card coming back to me anyway. So I think it's worth doing this. I don't really want a silver more than a landing party or a maroon. It's a tough call. So if the bot has a Shaman and is going to trash anyway, then it would behoove me to trash here, because bot's going to gain this card. I'll gain whatever the bot trashes, and then the bot gains this card back on its next turn. If the bot doesn't have the Shaman in hand, then bot gains this one, I gain whatever I just trashed. There's only a 5/12 chance the bot even has a Shaman, and the 4s do look a decent bit better than silver to me. So I think I'm thinking about that reverse. There's the 5/12 chance is the chance that makes the buy a 4 line better, right? Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to go for this line because I can just rush a shaman here anyway if I need to junk the bot. So the bot did have the shaman in hand, but chose not to trash, so it could hit 5. Interesting. Quartermaster is a pretty good card. I'm not going to say that's a ridiculous choice. But it's a choice that comes at great sacrifice. First 5, I think, has to be Wharf. Cutthroat and Quartermaster both look really good, but they're cards I'd much rather take on 7 because you get a lot of upside from rushing them. You get them straight into play, and they get all their benefits on subsequent turns without having to spend time drawing and playing them from your own deck. And just one more Wharf here, I think. I don't know if these landing parties are ever going to pay off. I think there's scenarios where just having a few landing parties in deck could potentially be of great benefit, because if I pull Spell Scroll from Cutthroat, that can immediately top deck them. If I have a dud turn, I can just play my treasures and top deck some landing parties. There's conceivable scenarios where this might matter. It also might end up not mattering. I have 5 money. These bottom 3 cards have a shaman, and I think 2 coppers. I think I'm going to forego trashing to hit 7. As it turns out, I hit 8, so I could have trashed one more. But I think there's a 2/3. I'm pretty sure this is a shaman. And then if so, there's a 2/3 chance that I was going to draw shaman copper rather than double copper. And what are we rushing here? Quartermaster to contest the landing parties, or just straight into Cutthroat? I say Quartermaster seems worth it. Even just the one-shot village effective landing party, just getting one more Wharf into play is such a big deal. Wharf is a lot of draw. Unfortunately, I have failed to find my Wharf. Bummer. Well, I don't have room for more terminals in the deck at the moment, so I think I'm just taking Treasury. And then I should pick up the landing party here, because both my Wharves are out of play. And provided the other Wharf is not in the bottom 2 cards, I'll be able to play both, which would be pretty significant. Bot takes a 3rd Quartermaster. That's... So the bot has not been very aggressively. The bot has a bunch of junk in its deck from Shaman, but does have a bunch of Quartermasters. So something tells me that the bot's plan is going to look something like play a bunch of Quartermasters, empty the landing parties, set aside a bunch of estates with Quartermaster, and then maybe pile out Shamans. Go for the 3 pile. Quartermaster can be annoyingly good at piling out, because for purposes of putting cards in your hand, it's only getting you 1 card every other turn. You set it aside, you pick it back up. But if your goal is just to gain cards and not to ever play them, like with estates for example, Quartermaster can gain, like each Quartermaster gains 1 estate every single turn, so you could pile out estates in like 3 turns pretty quickly, on top of whatever you're buying. And then those estates aren't even going into your deck. So for gaining green cards, Quartermaster is actually something of a threat. This is the 2nd turn in a row that I had a Wharf bottom deck, isn't it? I'm not making up the fact that I have 2 Wharfs. I definitely have 2 Wharfs. That's unfortunate. It's definitely quite unfortunate. 7 is the magic number here for rush. So we cut through it now. I feel super far ahead though. The quartermaster pile out, it can sneak up on you. You got to be very cognizant of it, but so it's not look like the thing you want to be doing here. And the bot deck is just full of junk and just about nothing else. It is also, so it's taking a bunch of quartermasters. It is also very aggressively taking landing parties. What is it rushing? Apparently even the bot doesn't know. It knew it wanted rush more than it knew what it was taking. Anyways, landing parties. It's kind of like a de facto tactician, actually, when you think about it. Which is, if you just took all the landing parties, then you could essentially pass one turn by not playing any of your actions, just play some treasures, still buy something. And then you top deck 10 landing parties, or however many for the following turn, and then you get like one big turn every second turn. And something like that, I don't know, that seems like alright. Maybe that's the bot's plan. Just take all the landing parties, some wharves. One turn you play all the landing parties and a bunch of wharves. The other turn you buy nothing. Or the other turn you play nothing except for your treasures. You have like a little mini turn, then you have a mega turn, and you alternate. I don't think that's unreasonable. Bottom two are a shaman and I think just a copper, right? No, I have a victory point. It must be an estate that I haven't trashed. So there's 2 money, 4 money, 7 money. So I can't actually thin here if I want to buy a 7. No, I'm actually buying a gold this turn, aren't I? Because of Cutthroat. Come on. Oh my goodness. Cutthroat, you're my favorite card ever. That's such a big deal. Okay, so off the bat, the biggest synergy with Staff is Tactician. Because Tactician's big limitation is if you play it the normal way, you play it before your buy phase, you discard all your treasures, and you're having to forego one turn to get a big turn the following turn. But if you play all your treasures, play Staff last, and then play the Tactician, you get all the upside of Tactician, with none of the downside. That's huge. Humongous. Absolutely ginormous. Just gonna gain another landing party, I guess. Actually, do I even have other terminals down there? There is an argument for just keeping the shaman in hand and playing it with Staff. If there's no other terminal in my deck, I could even want to play with it. No, there's a Cutthroat down there that I might draw. But like here, for example, I could have trashed the estate if I wanted to. Well, now I've got to rush a Tactician, which seems non-negotiable. And all of a sudden, I have the terminal space to add an extra terminal if I want it. The bot's not exactly gaining any good cards. I don't know if Smugglers is worth it. Maybe it's Maroon? Maybe it's just a silver. I wish I had 12. I would totally buy a Wharf here. Yeah, I think I'm shocked to be in the position of having more terminal space than I need for the moment, which is not the position I expected to be in this kingdom. But I don't think I need the maroon to draw my deck. Is it just me or is the bot taking a lot longer than usual for some of its decisions? I also remember thinking a bit on that Rush Haven buy. It's buying I think the bot must already know that it's losing and it's just kind of flaming out over there is what's happening. I don't need a landing party in hand at the moment. I guess let's take another silver. I maybe should have counted this. There could have been an argument for, if I needed 15 exactly, keeping an estate in hand to discard a tactician. But 14 sounds totally reasonable. That's Rush Tactician and a gold, or Rush Tactician and Rush another one of these actions. Well, it's surely Tactician. That part I'm confident in. I think I just need the payload at the moment. I got the draw. Endless Chalice. It's alright. I don't think it's the most important loot here. Draw seems fairly easy to come by. And with this hand, I'm guaranteed to draw my deck because I have 7 draw coming in and 3 more in hand. Well, I guess with the exception of that single estate. But no biggie. I don't need to pick up the landing parties at the moment. Let's just take the silver. Okay. 18. It's a big number. Could be a gold, a 7, and a 5. That sounds reasonable, right? I can take another wharf and rush something. Yeah, let's rush Cutthroat for another loot. Sword could be a decent attack, except I suspect the bot's hands already kind of suck anyway. See, a bot now has 3/4 masters in play. I think the one thing I gotta watch out for is bot's just gonna try to empty a state shaman. And I gotta score before that happens. Annoying how the bot is playing this because there's a lot of interesting stuff here, and the bot's building a bad deck, but a deck that is gonna put me on a clock so that we can't quite do all the fun things. Now the bot stack also lacks plus buy, so I'm not sure how it even makes use of the landing party quasi mega turn stuff. Okay, drew a bunch of cards and bought a single estate. Let's take one of these. I don't think this game is lasting more than 3 turns, so I'm gonna use hanging on to those. Okay. And I can't quite play all of this, can I? I think I still thin. Play one of these. I guess the sword actually doesn't matter if I'm playing set third every turn. So something I actually could do here is I could rush Treasury, rush Tactician, and then get a second Tactician play. I don't know if that's worth it. That's 14 money. And the upside is I get a Treasury in deck and a Tactician in play. That's probably not worth it. But it would be neat. So I gotta start scoring, presumably. I want payload. Oh my god. It's just been... That's not going to pay off in time for it to be all too relevant. But, man, that is quite fortunate. Okay. Probably at least one of these needs to be a province. Another province and a 5. Maroon could actually be really good here at this point. Because if the long game is no longer what matters, trashing these cutthroats for a 6 draw immediately could be very good. I wish I could make the bot gain a gold somehow, because what I would absolutely love to be able to do is like gain a gold off of smugglers and then play staff, play maroon to draw the gold and all of the loots that I just got off of it. But I don't think there's a way to reliably gain gold in the action phase and make that happen. I'm thinking it's province and maroon. Could be province wharf as well, but I think maroon is actually just more draw at this point and more immediate draw. Sure, I'll top deck it. I'm expecting the bot to do estate and triple shaman. Or maybe estate double shaman duchy if it can afford it would be a better play. Given the quality of the bot's deck, it probably can't afford duchy. Maybe I actually can pick up a silver here. I don't know if it has silver set aside. Surely you take the duchy if you can, just because you're threatening the shaman pile out next turn regardless. Why is the bot thinking so hard today? It's one of its simplest kingdoms. Like it is, I think, abundantly clear what the bot's low win condition is here. It has taken its jolly time. Maybe the bot knows that it's lost? I can believe the bot still thinks it has a good chance of winning. Just because, like, if it saw the engine, you would think that it could put together that it should play the engine. So maybe, okay, so it did manage to get a duchy. And, oh, interesting, it played a landing party on a shame. I guess it had to do that to hit 5, and hitting 5 was pretty important there. Because it raises the bar a bit for how much I have to score. But it didn't manage to top deck any shamans. Or not shamans, landing parties. Let's take that. Landing party. Wharf. And yeah, I don't even need to kill a cutthroat here. I don't want to kill a tactician as well. Wait, do I have... No, I don't have a wharf down there. I have 2 wharfs in play currently. I wish I knew it was on the bottom of my deck, but I don't. I don't think it's anything terribly significant. A gold, probably. What I'm kind of strongly considering is just Maroon trashing the Shaman, and then I can play Cutthroat, and Tactician. Get to me an extra loot in the deck at the cost of not drawing 2 cards. I think that's thinking too long term. Golden 2 provinces. Oh, duh, the provinces. If I ended up bottom decking the gold, I would have been unhappy, I suppose. Decline. And score a bunch. Don't think the bot can do province, but I'll leave it at 2 just in case. And some payload. That hammer could have been useful earlier for gaining like Maroon or something. At this stage of the game, I don't think it's all too important. So yeah, boss deck, utter garbage, but I think if you're not careful, the Quartermaster, gain all the estates thing could totally sneak up on you. It's one of those things where if you're not cognizant of it and you're just clicking cards and building as much as you'd naturally want to build, you look over at the bot and you're like, shoot, it's got a 20-point advantage and it's 2 turns from piling and I can't score enough in time to stop that. But I think as long as you're paying attention, the Quartermaster thing is not much of a threat. It's gaining a copper. Okay, so the bot, I think the long decision time from the bot to me are a sign that the bot just knows it's lost and is just taking as much time as it can to try to find some conceivable win that doesn't exist. Obviously, there's no reason to ever gain a copper here. It's just strictly worse than silver. I did also get quite lucky on the loot. I had more actions that I knew what to do with, which was not what I would have anticipated happening here. I think in a world where you don't get lucky and pull staff, probably the thing that it would be reasonable to do is just rush a Tactician every turn, and then once the Tactician is in your deck, you can just trash it and then buy a new one. I think 7 a turn to get a Tactician in play for 5 extra draw, plus the ability to play an extra wharf seems worth it. So you just buy a new Tactician, like a one-shot Tactician each turn, and that would be worth it. Also, if you're gaining the Tacticians back from the trash after trashing them, you could always, if you pulled an orb, then you could play the Tactician that you gained off of Shaman. That'd be neat. So I guess the rush Tactician actually becomes worse if your opponent pulls an orb, because then you trashing your Tacticians feeds their orb. That would be a funny interaction. I got my Cutthroat back. Gain and card. There's nothing at all that I want here. Wow. Somehow I managed to dud off of a 12 card starting hand. Is that right? Yeah, 12 card Warfare Tactician. Well, that is preposterous. Obviously, this is still a win, but yeah, it's silly. Alrighty, that's the kingdom. 13 coppers, 14 estates. That's quite the deck you got there, Hardbot.